Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Mr. Bad Paramahansa Charya Ashtotar the Srimad Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai and Jaya Vishnupad Paramahansa Charya Ashtotar the Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Ananda Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai srimadbhagavatam Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Gaur Purnima. Okay. So, just to let you know what's going on, as I explained, this is of course Gaur Purnima, and we're going to have a special class featuring Lord Chaitanya. But there's a very important Bhagavatam verse that we have on the board that describes Lord Chaitanya. And so I thought we'd start with that, and then we'll go to discussing or reading a very wonderful, delightful pastime of Lord Chaitanya's childhood. Okay, just give me a second here. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. On this 9th day of March 2020 in SanDiego, the glorious Gaur Purnima Day, the appearance day of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We're reading from Srimadbhagavatam, translation and commentary by the disciples of his, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This is the Bhagavatam verse 11.5.32, quoted in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila chapter 3, text 52, and with a nice purport. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayar Yajanti Hisumeda Saha. Give me a second. Sorry about that. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sango Pangasta Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayar Yajanti Hisumeda Saha. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sango Pangasta Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayar Yajanti Hisumeda Saha. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sango Pangasta Parshadam Yajanti Hisumeda Saha. Janardhan Das. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayai Yajanti Hisumeda Saha. Jamal. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sango Pangasta Parshadam Sankirtana Prayar Yajanti Hisumeda Saha. Big Glenn. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sango Pangasta Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayai Yajanti Hisumeda Saha. Sunil, you want to try? Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sango Pangasta Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayai Yajanti Hisumeda Saha. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sango Pangasta Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayar Yajanti Hisumeda Saha. Heather? Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sango Pangasta Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayar Yajanti Hisumeda Saha. Krishna Varnam, repeating the syllables Krishna, Tvisha with a luster, Akrishnam, not black, golden, Saanga, along with associates, Upanga, servitors, Astra, weapons, Parshadam, confidential companions, Yagyai, by sacrifice. Sankirtana prayai, consisting chiefly of congregational chanting. Yajanti, they worship. He, certainly. Sumedhasaha, intelligent persons. Give me 1 second here. Translation. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the name of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. Srila Prabhupada's purport from Adi Lila, chapter 3, text 52. This text is from Srimadbhagavatam 11.5.32. Srila Jiva Goswami has explained this verse in his commentary on the Bhagavatam, known as the Krama Sandarbha, wherein he says that Lord Krishna also appears with a golden complexion. That golden Lord Krishna is Lord Chaitanya, who is worshipped by intelligent men in this age. That is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam by Garga Muni, who said that although the child Krishna was blackish, he also appears in 3 other colors, red, white, and yellow. And this was during when he gave the name-giving ceremony to Krishna secretly, so I wouldn't suspect that he was the son of Vasudeva. He, Krishna, exhibited his white and red complexions in the Satya and Treta ages, respectively. He did not exhibit the remaining color, yellow gold, until he appeared as Lord Chaitanya, who is known as Gaur Hari. Gaur means golden. Srila Jiva Goswami explains that Krishna Varnam means Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Krishna Varna and Krishna Chaitanya are equivalent. The name Krishna appears with both Lord Krishna and Lord Chaitanya Krishna. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But he always engages in describing Krishna and thus enjoys transcendental bliss by chanting and remembering his name and form. Lord Krishna himself appears as Lord Chaitanya to preach the highest gospel. Lord Chaitanya always chants the holy name of Krishna and describes it also, and because he is Krishna himself, whoever meets him will automatically chant the holy name of Krishna and later describe it to others. He injects one with transcendental Krishna consciousness, which merges the chanter in transcendental bliss. In all respects, therefore, he appears before everyone as Krishna, either by personality or by sound. Simply by seeing Lord Chaitanya, one at once remembers Lord Krishna. One may therefore accept him as Vishnu Tattva. In other words, Lord Chaitanya is Lord Krishna himself. Sangopangasta Parshadam further indicates that Lord Chaitanya is Lord Krishna. His body is always decorated with ornaments of sandalwood and with sandalwood paste. By his super excellent beauty, he subdues all the people of the age. In other descents, the Lord sometimes uses weapons to defeat the demoniac. But in this age, the Lord subdues them with his all-attractive figure as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Jiva Goswami explains that his beauty is his astra, or weapon, to subdue the demons. Because he is all-attractive, it is to be understood that all the demigods lived with him as his companions. His acts were uncommon, and his associates wonderful. When he propagated the Sankirtan movement, he attracted many great scholars and acharyas, especially in Bengal and Orissa. Lord Chaitanya is always accompanied by his best associates like Lord Nityananda, Advaita, Gadadhar, and Srivas. Sri Jiva Goswami cites a verse from the Vedic literature which says that there is no necessity of performing sacrificial demonstrations or ceremonial functions. He comments that instead of engaging in such external pompous exhibitions, all people, regardless of caste, color, or creed, can assemble together and chant Hare Krishna to worship Lord Chaitanya. Krishna Varnam Trisha Krishnam indicates that prominence should be given to the name of Krishna. Lord Chaitanya taught Krishna consciousness and chanted the name of Krishna. Therefore, to worship Lord Chaitanya, everyone should together chant the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. To propagate worship in churches, temples, or mosques is not possible because people have lost interest in that. But anywhere and everywhere, people can chant Hare Krishna. Thus, worshipping Lord Chaitanya, they can perform the highest activity and fulfill the highest religious purpose of satisfying the Supreme Lord. Srila Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, a famous disciple of Lord Chaitanya, said, quote, "The principle of transcendental devotional service having been lost, Sri Krishna Chaitanya has appeared in order to deliver again the process of devotion. He is so kind that he is distributing love of Krishna. Everyone should be attracted more and more to his lotus feet, as humming bees are attracted to a lotus flower." Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanandana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmidatam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. So first I want to express, yes, Prabhu. Oh, you have another paragraph there? After Sri Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya? That's not here. Anyway, you're at Adi 352, huh? Adi 352. No, that's a different purport. Yeah, this is all Prabhupada. That's his disciples. Okay, so I just wanted to express my gratitude for being able to speak on this glorious day by Krishna's grace. So the reason I chose this is one, so that we could have a Bhagavatam class and at the same time glorify Lord Chaitanya. And this is such an important verse. This verse is quoted here in the Adi Lila chapter 3 of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Now this chapter is dedicated to proving that Lord Chaitanya is actually Krishna himself, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Chaitanya Charitamrita is very nicely organized. And at the beginning of the book, there's something called the Mangalacharan, which is a traditional practice when there is a substantial work, a literary work, of Sanskrit work in Vaishnava culture. Then you have a series of verses that define the subject of the book, that prayers, you're praying to the Lord for inspiration. You're also giving blessings. And so in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's 14 verses at the beginning of the Adi Lila, which do what I just said. And within there, of course, it's declared that Lord Chaitanya, the third verse, is a description, I think, written by Swarup Damodar. It's not original, I think, by Krishnadas Kaviraj, that describes Lord Chaitanya as Krishna. Yadadvaitam brahmo panasharitadapyasatanabha. That's the first line. That his effulgence that's emanating from his body is the Brahma Jyoti. You know, he is non-different from the super soul. And he is actually Bhagavan himself. These are the three different levels of the absolute truth that are described in the Bhagavatam. There is nothing beyond Lord Chaitanya, who is Krishna, who is the absolute truth. This is a very important verse. Because the entire foundation of the Gaudiya Vaishnava practice and philosophy is that Krishna exists, that he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that Lord Chaitanya is the same Krishna. So when you're worshipping Lord Chaitanya by the practice of Sankirtan as described in this purport, you're actually worshipping Krishna in the way most accessible and practical in this age, and most efficacious for engendering the goal of the whole practice, which is prema, which is pure love for Krishna. So that's described in this purport. He's referring to, Prabhupada is referring to Jiva Goswami, who explained this verse within his Sandarbhas, Krama Sandarbha, the Krama Sandarbha, which is his commentary on the Bhagavatam. So let's just go through real quick and review. Krishna Varnam. Now just yesterday I heard Prabhupada give a talk on this, or he mentioned this verse, and he described that this has two meanings. Krishna Varnam means he's always speaking the syllables Krishna, Krishna, because Varna can mean a syllable of a word. So he's always chanting Krishna, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. That's one. You're identifying who is this. This is a list of different avatars. This is in the chapter of the dealing with the 9 yogendras. And the question was, who were the different avatars coming down, in this age, previous ages and in this age. So he's come to the Kali Yuga, and this is the verse describing it. So he's identifying, he's always chanting the name Krishna, Krishna, and he belongs to the Varna of Krishna. Remember Varnashram? Varnashram means the organization of society according to different social castes or social functions and spiritual orders. So Varna means a categorization, a category. So he's within the category of Krishna. In other words, he is Krishna. That's two ways of understanding it. Then Trisha Akrishnam. Now that needs to be said because Krishna, another meaning of the word Krishna is blackish. He's all attractive. Krishna means all attractive, but it also means blackish. But here is Trisha, his complexion is non-blackish. So the Prabhupada explains here, okay, well we have 4 colors to choose from. Red, white, yellow, and bluish-black. Well, bluish-black we have with Krishna, right? He appeared like that. Then you have the red and white, which appeared, the 2 avatars, which appeared in the Satya and Treta Yugas. And Dwapara was Krishna's Yuga. So now in Kali Yuga, what's left? Pita. Okay, we have 4 different colors of these avatars coming. Red, white, blackish, and yellow. Blackish is taken up already by Krishna, who appeared in Dwapara Yuga. The famous Krishna, a little blackish, bluish, very attractive. Shyama Sundar. Shyama means beautiful, blackish complexion Lord. So, then you have 3 left. So, the red and white, I forget the name, I think red was Jagya. They appeared in previous yugas, Satya and Treta Yuga, both of these. And there's some mention of them in the Bhagavatam telling what they did. Yeah. And yellow, or golden yellow, that's Lord Chaitanya. It refers to Gargamuni. Gargamuni mentioned this. Gargamuni was the priest of the Yadu dynasty. So he came to Vrindavan on Vasudev's request, and he's a great acharya, learned scholar. And immediately Nanda Maharaj says, "Oh, I'm very fortunate that you came." Now, Krishna had just appeared, just been born. So there's traditionally a name-giving ceremony, But Gargamuni said, "I'm the priest of the Yadus. If I perform this big public ceremony, which it usually is, and everyone's invited, and big kirtan and everything, and then they're going to think, well, what are you doing there, doing that? That must mean that this Krishna is part of the Yadu dynasty. He's the son of Vasudeva. The whole idea was to keep him secret, because otherwise Kamsa would come with an army, because he was afraid he's the 8th son. So they said, okay, well, let's do it in a secret place. I need to have the names-giving ceremony done by you, but we won't make a big deal out of it. We'll do it secretly in this little barn, And there's a lot of parallels. This is where the Christians in the manger, Christ appeared in the manger. So anyway, so he gave him all these names, and he described in that ceremony the different colors that this boy has had. Now he's speaking in such a way that he's not directly saying he's God, because Nanda Maharaj is not supposed to know that. Otherwise it spoils all the rasa, you see. In other words, then he has to be like Vasudeva and offer his obeisances and periodically honor his son as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Well, you can't have the Supreme Personality of Godhead and then chastise him for stealing butter. You see the rasa bas there. So it has to be this yoga maya. Anyway, it gets complicated. So that the fact that he's yellow, he fulfills this other thing about that he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna Varnam, then we have the color, then Saanga Upanga Astra Parshadam. The second line is very rich. So Anga means limbs or very intimate associates. And the Upa Angas are a little less intimate. So when you talk about he's appearing with all of these associates, the other members of the Panchatattva, very intimate limbs, and then all of his other associates and servants. If you read the Chaitanya Charitamrita, or to say when you read the Chaitanya Charitamrita, you'll find in the 9th and 10th chapters of the Adi Leela a whole list of the associates of Lord Chaitanya. The other, some like Vakreshwar Pandit and Shivananda Sain and all of them who you read about later, what they did in past times. So these are his associates. And his astra means weapon. And the weapon is here said to be Jiva Goswami, the beauty, also the names. What are the names of Krishna, the Hare Krishna mantra? Now, how is that a weapon? Well, in previous ages, we know Krishna actually used weapons. He used his chakra extensively when he appeared as Krishna. And of course, as Ram, he was great bow and arrows, and he has different weapons. And Balaram uses the club or the plow, so there's all these weapons. But here, Lord Chaitanya, he has no weapons. He's standing on the altar, his hands are open. So where's the weapons? Well, the whole idea is with the weapons, he annihilates the demons. This is explained in the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. What is his function? What does he do when he comes? Paratranaya sadhunam vinachaya chadushkatam dharma sangstapanataya sambhavama yuge yuge. I appear yuga after yuga to perform these 3 things, to protect the devotees. Paratranaya. Paratranaya is to protect. Paratranaya means completely protect all around. And vinashaya chadushkatam, to annihilate the demoniac and to reestablish real dharma. So how does Lord Chaitanya do that? Well, he doesn't kill any demons. He didn't kill anybody, right? But it's not so important to kill the body. The main thing is to kill the demoniac mentality so that the demons are no longer demons. So he kills the demoniac mentality by spreading the holy name. The holy name of Krishna, especially Hare Krishna mantra, is so powerful. It is Krishna himself. And he is all purifying. What is that? Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram Paramam. Pavitram Paramam means you, Arjun, is glorifying Krishna in the 10th chapter. You are the supreme pure. Pure and purifier. You can't be contaminated, and you purify whatever comes in touch with you, just like the sun. So the holy name is like that. The most demoniac person. And the perfect examples, and the first examples were Jagai Madai. This is a very famous pastime, took place in Navadvip. Lord Chaitanya sent out Nityananda and Haridas to preach in Navadvip. And they had a mantra. He gave them very simple instructions. Bolo Krishna, Bado Krishna, Koro Krishna Shika. That's it. You tell everyone to just do these 3 things. This is your preaching. Very simple. And what it means, I put it into a little poem. Chant Shri Krishna's name and worship him with all your heart. Follow his instructions and to others them impart. So this is how they would preach. And many of the pious, so the Vaishnavas would all take instructions very nicely, But sometimes they would meet people who were opposed. The smarta Brahmins were annoyed. And these 2 Jagai Madai, they had been born in Brahmin families, become completely degraded. This is characteristic of Kali Yuga. I won't tell the whole story, but they attacked Lord Chaitanya. First they wanted to kill them. They were drunkards also. So as soon as they started berating them and running after them, then Nitai and Haridas ran. And they're running after them, and they're so drunk, eventually they stumble, fall, they start fighting with each other. And they escape that day. But then another day, Nityananda comes again, knowing full well that there's going to be this opposition, and saying, well, these are the perfect examples of Kali Yuga. Everybody's like this. So if we can get them to chant and become pure, then Lord Chaitanya will be glorified like anything. This is his mentality. Not that I'll be glorified, but... So he instructed them, Bolo Krishna, Bado Krishna. And he got very angry, and Madai threw a piece of a pot and cut his head, and his blood's coming down, soaking his body. But he said, no, don't worry about it. Please chant Hare Krishna. So this really affected Jagai. Madai was ready to throw another pot, but Jagai held his hand and said, no, can't you see? He's a great soul. And that was a key fact, that he stopped Madai, so he became blessed. Anyway, Lord Chaitanya came, he was ready to annihilate him with his chakra. He had the chakra, and they could see the chakra, and they were trembling and falling down. And Nityananda said, wait, Jagai saved me, from Madai. He says, oh, okay. So then he blessed him and embraced him, and he had immediately attained prema bhakti. So Madai says, oh, I got to get that too. He says, no, you have to get the mercy of Nityananda. So Nityananda forgave him, of course, gave him a big hug, and he became pure. And it's a very important pastime because it opens up the channel for all of us. I mean, Jagai Madai were really, really degraded. They became drunkards and rapists and thieves and everything else. People would give them a wide berth because they were Brahmins, by birth. Anyway, That's an all-important point. So, how does he do it? With his the name is his weapon, of purifying, and his beauty. That's mentioned here. Do you ever see that someone is so beautiful they just disarm you? Right? Think of Putana. Putana was the worst demon in my humble estimation. Killing babies by sucking the blood. That would be even beyond the pale of most of what's going on today. But and she was bad, and so she was assigned to go kill all the babies. One of them might be the eighth son, because whatever. Anyway, so she walks in, but she disguised herself because these demons and demonesses, they're usually great yogis because that's a great power. So she had the shape-shifting power. So she turned herself and she looked like the goddess of fortune. So she walks right into the inner bedroom of Yashoda and Rohini. They're sitting there because she's so beautiful. They just let her come in. If she looked like a witch, they would have screamed, right? But Krishna, so he knew what was going on. He's a little baby in a bassinet, but he's still all-knowing Krishna. So he recognized, this is another demon come to do. This is the first demon, actually. So you know the story. She had put some poison on her breast, intending to kill Krishna. So he sucks the poison, sucks her breast, and sucks out her life. She reveals her real form. 8 miles. Was it 8 miles or 13? 12 mile long. No, 8. Doesn't make any difference when you get up to that. Knocking down all the trees. Everybody's screaming. And where's the boy? Where's the baby? He's playing on the breast. He's fine. So Mother Yashoda picks him up. And they have a big ceremony. They have all kinds of mantras to bring the Brahmins, to protect the child. So she disarmed everybody by her beauty. So Lord Chaitanya's beauty, his attractiveness, also it had a great effect with Prakashananda Saraswati, his effulgence, and everybody and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and then he converted them. He would convert them by preaching, by chanting, and so forth. So the Astra, the holy names especially, and his beauty. And his Parshada, these are his confidential companions. All of these he came with in order to spread Krishna consciousness. Now, what about us? Now, how do we worship him? Okay, this is each age we need to worship the Lord. So yajna, it has to be sacrifice. Sankirtana prayai. Prayai means chiefly by practicing Sankirtan, which is chanting and dancing. That was emphasized in another one. But you have to be pretty intelligent. Yujanti hi sumedasa. Sumedasa means those who are intelligent, they worship him in this way. So this is, you can see like the whole movement is based on this one verse. So this, let's see what else. There's so much, this is a rich purport here. Let's see. There's no necessity or possibility really of performing sacrificial demonstrations or ceremonial functions as they did in previous ages. So the idea is that Lord Chaitanya, Krishna, as Lord Chaitanya, has made it very easy for all of us. What is it that really allows us to chant? Faith. You have to have some. You can begin from any platform without faith or anything, but to seriously chant and enter into the whole practice of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, you have to have some faith in the chanting. And if you chant regularly and you accept a guide in the form of the spiritual master and really make a serious commitment, then that chanting becomes your intimate association with Krishna. And it means becoming purified and making a serious advancement. Let's see. Now, then Prabhupada quotes this beautiful verse by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. When Lord Chaitanya met him, he would convert everybody. He even converted the Muslim Qazi. In fact, there was a whole bunch of Muslims when he was traveling to Vrindavan. They became converted, and they became known as the Patan Vaishnavas. There's a whole group of them. So, but first was the impersonalists, especially. Prakashananda Saraswati, but first was Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. When he goes to Puri, he took sannyas, and he's on his way to Vrindavan, right? What's the time? Okay. So with Nityananda, and he's fasting for 3 days. He's on his way to Vrindavan, not eating anything, just chanting. So, but Advaita and Nityananda said, hey, we didn't get a chance to say goodbye. he took sannyas in Katwa, which is some distance. He didn't want to do it public. He knew that everyone would freak out, all of his intimates, cutting that beautiful hair and all of this. His mother would. So he's on his way, but they said, we have to bring him back. So they tricked him. Nityananda, they hit the Ganges, and Nityananda says, oh, look, we've come to the Yamuna. And Lord says, oh, the Yamuna. And he chanted a couple of verses glorifying the Yamuna, and he bathed in there. And then he sees Advaita coming in a rowboat. He says, how did you get to Vrindavan? Because he's back in Shantipur. And he suspected something. He said, oh, Nityananda tricked me. No. Advaita said, this is when back in, at Prayag, the Yamuna and the Ganges merge, And the Yamuna is on the southern side. So they've kept their identity because they were in the south side of the river. And said, you see, this is still Yamuna because it's the south side of the river. So they made this joke. Anyway, so Advaita said, please come with me. Everyone. So Lord Chaitanya surrendered that. He gave him some new clothes. And they went to Shantipur, his home. And all of the devotees had called to come, to see Lord Chaitanya because he took sannyas. And his mother came. This is a very moving scene. She sees his head without hair and everything. She's crying. Takes him on her lap. And he's apologizing. He says, oh, I took the sannyas in madness. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do, Now, she could have said, okay, come back home. Because his wife was there, Vishnupriya, and the father had passed away. The eldest son had taken sannyas, Vishwarup. He had already gone into samadhi. So they didn't know that, but this happened. So she says, okay, look. She knew that if she asked him to give up his sannyas now, this would be a big black mark, and he would, his name would be. So she says, I'm not going to do that. So just make Puri, Jagannath Puri, your headquarters, not Vrindavan. Vrindavan is very far away. Puri is closer to Bengal. And then I'll get news of you regularly. So he agreed to that. And eventually, he spent 18 years there, just sitting there at the end, after preaching and going everywhere. So there was that moving scene. And so when he met Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he didn't meet him actually, he just went there's a whole pastime of how he went there with Nityananda and Mukunda and some others. Lord Nityananda broke his sannyas rod. He had this danda, and he broke it into 3 pieces, threw it into the river. And Lord Chaitanya feigned being angry. Well, I gave you my danda to protect it, and you broke it? What is this? And so he says, either you go ahead or I'll go ahead. I'm not going to walk with you anymore to Puri. He says, oh, you go ahead. So he started walking really fast. He's really tall. He's walking fast. And so he came to the temple first, walks into the temple, sees Jagannath, and immediately faints in ecstasy. He goes into samadhi, So the guards there, they'd seen a lot of this, people faking samadhi, so they're ready to give him a good beating. And Sarvabhauma says, wait, because he's got this effulgence, he's so beautiful, And Sarvabhauma says, maybe it's genuine. So he looks, and he was worried because he didn't see any signs of life. He took a little cotton and put it by the nose, and there was slight movement. He said, oh, he's breathing a little bit. Because when you go into this high samadhi, it looks like you're dead. So he said, oh, let him take him to my house, and let him recover there, So he's showing a lot of parental care and love for Lord Chaitanya, which is wonderful. Anyway, it goes on like that. And Sarvabhauma was an impersonalist. He was the student of Shankaracharya. So he wanted to reform Lord Chaitanya. He wanted to bring him along and said, let me teach you the Vedanta Sutra. And says, Lord Chaitanya said, okay. So he sits there. There's that wonderful painting where he's kind of sitting for 7 days. Not 7 days and nights, but 7 days would meet in the morning and adjourn in the evening. And he's not saying anything, just sort of listening. So finally Sarvabhauma says, what's the story? I'm explaining the Vedanta Sutra with Shankaracharya's commentary. You're not saying anything? You're not asking any questions? Do you understand the meaning of the sutras? Lord Chaitanya says, I understand the meaning of the sutras perfectly well, but your commentary based on Shankaracharya is obscuring the meaning of it, just like a cloud covering the sun. So Sarvabhauma says, well, okay, you explain them. What's your idea? So then Lord Chaitanya gives him the perfect bhakti understanding of the sutras, and Sarvabhauma is just like, because he's a great scholar, he's completely turned around. He's like, he says, oh, I realize now that this is the actual understanding, And so he becomes his follower. And Lord Chaitanya reveals the 6-armed form, Shadbhuja, 6-armed form.
It should be noted
yeah.
that he was the teacher and trainer of the best thousands of sannyasis.
Yes. Right.
They would learn from Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would turn back.
So he gets this revelation of the Shadbhuja, which is Krishna, Rama, and Lord Chaitanya combined. And then he composed 100 verses like that. This is the nature of his scholarship, just like Keshava Kashmiri was able to do. But better than that, because he didn't make any mistakes. And I'll share one of those after this. And then there were 2 further verses that he wrote and sent to Lord Chaitanya, who was staying at the Gambhir, which is in Kashi Mishra's house. And this is one of them. So the verse goes like this: Karam nashtam bhakti yogam nijanya pradushkartam Krishna Chaitanya nama avibhutasya saparadavinde garam garam liyatam chitta bringa. Chitta bringa means the be-like consciousness. After a long time, Krishna has come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to teach what everyone has forgotten, namely love for himself, Krishna bhakti for himself, by chanting the holy name. Let the bee of my mind be deeply enmeshed in the luscious nectar of his lotus feet. That's his calling. He says like that. So quickly, boy, I'm going to not have time. This verse I discovered after a long time. I'd forgotten about it. And somehow or other I was reading through through Shloka Shataka. These are the Chaitanya Shataka 100 verses. And this verse is just out of this world. Hare Krishna Rama Nama Gana Dara Karanim Shoka Moha Loba Tapa Sarva Vigna Nashinim Pada Padma Lubna Bhakta Vrinda Bhakti Dainim Goda Mota Masha Nama Nama Sutta Dharinim. Hare Krishna Rama Nama Gana, the song composed of the names Hare Krishna and Rama. Hare Krishna Rama Nama Gana, Gana's song. Hare Krishna Rama Nama Gana Dana Karinim. He made it into a gift. He gave a gift to everybody. And those who accept it will have all of their sufferings, beginning with lamentation and illusion and moha and lobha, greed, etc., all destroyed by the holy name. And those who are really greedy for the nectar of serving his lotus feet, he gives the highest prema bhakti. I very quickly and enthusiastically glorify this golden avatar, Gauramurti, Lord Chaitanya. Okay, I'm going to say as quick as possible in the few minutes left. Tell this story. This is wonderful. His childhood Leela are so attractive, and they're explained in great detail in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. The Chaitanya Bhagavat by Vrindavan Das Thakur is really the companion book for the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Both together give a wonderful detailed view of his full life, and CC especially describes the philosophy as well. But here in the CC, Adi Kanda, they're Kanda instead of Leelas, chapter 5, text 18, he describes this childhood pastime. I'll try to tell it as quickly as possible, summarize. So he's at home, he's about 3 to 4, and he's speaking, and he's very mischievous. So one day at the home of Jagannath Mishra in Navadvip, a pious mendicant Brahmin was wandering to various holy places in search of Krishna. He worshipped the Lord with a 6-syllable Gopal mantra, which is apparently Om, Klim, Gopala, Namaha. In the course of visiting various holy places, the fortunate Brahmin arrived at the house of the Lord. He was a very effulgent Brahmin. He had a little deity he would carry with him, a Bala Gopal and a Shalagram Sila as well. He constantly chanted the name of Krishna while he kept his eyes half closed, internally relished ecstatic love for Govinda. When Jagannath Mishra saw the effulgent Brahman Vaishnav, he respectfully stood up and offered him his obeisances. Notice that expect when somebody captured, you stand up and then offer obeisances. And then, so that's why it's important also to get up after the after the Tulsi obeisances and when we say those prayer. So Jagannath Mishra received the Brahmin with the etiquette due to a great guest. He washed his feet, offered him a proper seat. And then Jagannath Mishra asked him, "What is your residence?" He said, "I don't have a residence. I'm just a wandering mendicant. I go wherever my restless mind takes me." Jagannath Mishra, "Your traveling is for the benefit of the world. Today I'm especially fortunate. Please order me and I will go arrange for your cooking, for your meal." So it's like early evening this time. But he says, "Please do whatever you feel suitable." So Jagannath Mishra and Shati Devi, they cleaned the kitchen very thoroughly, and put out all different ingredients. That's described here. Satisfied with the arrangement, the Brahmin cooked and then sat down to make an offering to Krishna, with his mantra and everything and with the thread. And, Sri Shachinandan, the beloved son of Shachi, Lord Chaitanya, the super soul of all living beings, then decided to give darshan to the Brahmin. So he understood his purity and his love, and so he wanted to reveal himself. As soon as the Brahmin began to meditate, Lord Chaitanya came before him. He was naked, so he's about 3 or 4. All of his limbs were covered with dust. His eyes were reddish, and his hands and feet were most beautiful. He smiled, the Lord smiled, took a handful of the Brahmin's rice, and ate it in front of the Brahmin. As the Brahmin watched, the fortunate Brahmin cried, "Alas, alas, this naughty boy has stolen the rice." Jagannath Mishra came there and saw Lord Gorsunda was smiling as he ate the Brahmin's rice. In anger, Jagannath rushed to beat the Lord. But the Brahmin got up and apprehensively caught hold of Jagannath Mishra's hand. "Mishra, you're supposed to be a cultured Aryan. What's the use of beating this ignorant boy? Only one who can distinguish wrong from right may be beaten. Therefore I forbid you from beating this child." Jagannath Mishra then sat down in distress, holding his head with his hands. He couldn't speak or lift his head. He was disconsolate. The Brahmin said, "My dear Mishra, don't feel sad. Whatever is meant to happen on a particular day is known only to the Lord. Please bring whatever fruits and roots are there in your house. I will eat those today." Jagannath Mishra said, "If you at all consider me your servant, please cook again. I'll make all the arrangements. We have all the ingredients for cooking. Then I'll feel satisfied." All the relatives and friends of Jagannath also requested, "Please be merciful to us and cook again." The Brahmin said, "All right, according to your desire, I will certainly cook again." Everyone was so happy to hear the Brahmin's decision, they immediately cleaned the kitchen again. They quickly assembled all the ingredients, and the Brahmin began to cook. Everyone concluded, "This child is very restless and may spoil the offering again. Let's take him to another house until the Brahmin finishes cooking and eating." This is such a great story. Shachi Devi then took her son in her arms and went to a neighbor's house. All the ladies there said, "Listen, Nimai, you shouldn't have eaten the Brahmin's rice like that." The Lord smiled with his moon-like face and replied, "What is my fault? The Brahmin called me." Everyone said, "You deceitful Nimai, what will you do now that you have lost your caste? Who knows this Brahmin? What is his caste? Where is he from? Now that you have eaten his rice, how will you maintain your caste?" The Lord smiled and said, "I'm a coward boy, and I always eat Brahmin's rice. How can a coward boy lose his caste by eating a Brahmin's rice?" Saying this, the Lord looked at everyone and smiled. In this way, the Lord revealed his identity while speaking deceptively, but by the influence of Maya, no one could understand him. Okay.
It's quite, if you understand it, it's a very clear simple.
Yeah. Let me see if I can get through this. Everyone laughed upon hearing the Lord's explanation. No one wanted to set him down from their embrace. So these are all the ladies. They're all laughing. The Lord smiled, as the Lord smiled and sat on various people's laps. Whoever held them merged into an ocean of bliss. Meanwhile, the Brahmin finished cooking again, so he sat down to make the offering. In meditation, the Brahmin called Bal Gopal to eat, and Lord Gorsunda, the super soul, immediately came to know of this. Putting everyone into illusion, he cast the Maya again, the Lord secretly came before the Brahmin with a smile on his face. Unseen by others, he then took a handful of rice and ate it as the Brahmin watched. The Brahmin immediately cried, "Hi, hi! Alas, alas!" And the Lord, after eating the rice, fled away. Enraged, Jagannath Mishra got up, took a stick in his hand, chased after the boy in anger. The Lord fearfully fled into another room, with Jagannath chasing behind and chastising in anger. He said, "Just wait and I'll see what I'll do to you today. Although I'm an Aryan, you consider me a fool. Who has such a great thief as a son?" Saying this, Jagannath Mishra chased after the Lord in anger. Everyone present tried to restrain Mishra, but he said, "Leave me alone. Today I'll beat him." They then pleaded, "Oh, Mishra, you're by nature magnanimous. What kind of intelligence would you exhibit by beating him? He doesn't understand what's right and what's wrong. Whoever beats such a child is a great fool. He will not learn simply by being beaten. Children are all restless by nature." At that time, the mendicant Brahmin hastily came there. Holding the hands of Jagannath Mishra, he said, "Listen, Mishra, this child is not at fault. Whatever is meant to happen on a particular day will certainly take place." The same thing he said before. "Today, Krishna has not allotted me any rice. I'm telling you, this is my realization." Feeling distressed, Jagannath Mishra was unable to raise his head. He looked at the ground and simply lamented. At that time, the most powerful and effulgent Vishwarup, this is his elder brother, Lord Chaitanya's elder brother, comes. There's no comparison to the matchless sweetness of Vishwarupa's bodily limbs. A Brahman thread hung on his shoulder. He is the source of the Brahman effulgence, and though in a different form, he is directly Lord Nityananda. So he glorifies Vishwarupa. Seeing his extraordinary beauty, the Brahman said, whose son is this? He's the son of Jagannath Mishra. Brahman was satisfied. Glorious are the father and mother of this boy. Vishwarupa offered obeisance to the Brahman. He then sat down. Whoever receives a guest like you has attained great fortune on that day. Although you're self-satisfied, you travel about to sanctify the world. It's our great fortune we have you, but we're also unfortunate because you're fasting. If you fast while staying in someone's house, it will simply bear inauspicious fruit. Oh boy, I'm running out of time. All right, I'll just tell the rest. So what happened is that Vishwarupa was able to prevail upon the Brahman to cook one more time. It's almost midnight by this time. So everyone says, okay, look, we'll take Nimai into another room, and then all the women have him and said, look, he's sleeping. He's not going to bother anyone now. So, it's 12 o'clock, so everyone's getting a little tired. So he cooks again, and of course Nimai gets up, everyone's sleeping, and he comes one more time. And this time he eats, he smiles and eats it, and he reveals himself as the Gopal that the Brahman is worshipping. And he says, I know what you've been doing and everything. And the Brahman, is so ecstatic. The one who is chanting, the Gopal he's chanting, is right in front of him. And Lord Chaitanya warns him, said, but don't reveal this or I'll destroy you. You'll be destroyed. So, okay. So he stops wondering. He says at the beginning, he's in search of Krishna. So he's found Krishna. So he's just stayed in Bengal, in Navadvip there, with Lord Chaitanya. And that's the end of the story. So this is the kind of Leela. Yeah. Go ahead.
You can finish. I have a quick question.
No, I'm done, because we got to get ready for
Do
the...
you know the age difference between Vishnuvar and Vishwarupa and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
It doesn't say here, and I really would...
Where's Ram?
Ram's probably in the kitchen. But we'll find that out for you. Okay, so we're about to have the opening of the curtains, I assume. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, and all glories to Lord Chaitanya. Hari Om.